Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be talking about the Sonic box office and our boy, Scotty Boy Mendelsohn, who yet continues to entirely miss the point of why Sonic has been so successful, and also what the entire backlash was about, and why that backlash is the primary reason as to why this film is doing as well as it is, because they decided to start to listen to the fans, give the fans something that was basically what fans have been clamoring for, which is a Sonic character that actually looks like Sonic and pays respect to the fan base, while at the same time also being able to open it up and broaden the horizon for non-Sonic fans to be introduced to the character for the first time. But of course, Scott Mendelsohn is a part of that, elite group of those in the media that love to try and explain and twist their words as much as they possibly can to basically try and say, oh, the fans had a minimal impact. They had a little bit to do with it, but overall, they're just fans and they should just be ignored, because let's see how well that worked out for Star Wars, ignoring the fact that if you're gonna really honestly say that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker was so-called fan service and try to listen to the fans, you're not paying attention. But that all being said, as it says right here, Sonic opens to $70 million, partially thanks to online outrage. Oh, partially? Really? Is that really the case, Scotty Boy? The online outcry over the first Sonic the Hedgehog trailer caused Paramount to fix the title character's design and give it what turned out to be a much more beneficial release date. And this is going to be the main point that Scotty Boy Mendelsohn tries to drive home, is that it's not because of the fans, it's not because of the outrage, it's not because the studio decided to listen to the fans as to why this film is doing well, or even the fact that it's a good film, that it's a film that's gotten very good reviews from audiences all across the world. I myself still need to see it. I know. Yell at me in the comments all you want. I've just been so bombarded with random stuff going on. You just have no idea. Hopefully I can reveal some of the stuff as we continue to go through the rest of the year, but for now I can't. But they fail to recognize this point. And it's not just Scotty Boy Mendelsohn. It's so many articles are now being written saying, oh, the fans are toxic, and oh, you should never listen to the fans, and blah, 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 and they're trying to make every excuse in the book to explain why this film is being so very successful. And so, yes, it is because of the fans. If you're going to honestly say that if this film had been released back in November, and with no changes to it whatsoever, that the film would have done just as well because it was a good movie, I'm sorry, you're just not paying attention. Go ahead and look back to the box office tracking at the time. Go ahead and look to the fact that people just were tuned out, said, this is not Sonic, why would I want to go see it? And then he's going to argue saying, okay, well, let's say that we had the same design, but it got released in February at the time that it eventually got released in. Oh, it would have been doing just as well, maybe a little bit less, because it didn't really have a lot of competition. I'm going to tell you this right now. Anyone out there who watches my videos at the very least, watches Geeks and Gamers, watches any of the Phantom Menace channels, have gone out to see this film not because they said, ooh, this looks like a great movie, this looks like a great piece of cinema. They went to go see this movie with a primary purpose being, oh, they heard our criticism. They heard the problems that we had, and they listened to us. I'm going to go see this movie now. I had no interest in seeing it before, but because they have shown respect to the fan base, I'm going to go see it just out of respect for that alone. There are people out there who have major issues with the likes of Jim Carrey, because Jim Carrey, as we all know, is a loony bin. And yet people are putting up with it. People are saying, hey, you know what? Even though he's a loony bin and I don't want to support anything that he's in, I want to support this movie to support people like Jeff Fowler, who saw in the fans a loud cry of, hey, this is not Sonic. This is not the character that we grew up with. Why would I throw my money at your product? And he said, hey, you're right. This is not Sonic. You know what? Hey, guess what? The fans can be right. Sometimes listening to the fans is the best thing that you can do. And the reason why this is different than what they did in Rise of Skywalker is because Rise of Skywalker still did not do away with The Last Jedi, still respected a lot of the things that Rian Johnson ended up doing in that film. I know a lot of people have said, oh, he crapped on all over The Last Jedi, he crapped all over it, he listened to the fans, finally gave all the fan service, and that's the reason why people like Scott Mendelsohn and others have said, oh, the film wasn't as successful because, had it been a continuation of the story laid down by Rian Johnson, well, then it would have been so much better. Forgetting the fact that, no, the reason why that film didn't do so well is because you pissed off that core 20% hardcore fan base. Because remember, we talked about this in previous videos. 20% of the hardcore fans, right? Of all fans, about 20% make up that hardcore demographic. They're the ones that spend the most money. They're the ones that buy the merch. They're the ones that go to see a film 2, 3, 4 times in theaters. And when you tick that group off and you don't have a 80% giant base to be able to support you and make up for that, it's going to be problematic. You know, Disney got very lucky because Star Wars had become such a cultural phenomenon that they had a lot of normies. They had a lot of non-hardcore Star Wars fans that showed up for things like The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And, you know, even some of them showed up somewhat to Solo Star Wars Story, even though that film ended up losing money. But Solo was kind of that first indication that, guess what? The Last Jedi has a much bigger impact because it was a giant FU to the fans. Solo lost money, hashtag Solo lost money. Never forget that, by the way. Mostly because, and primarily because, and I know that Skyman Momentum is probably going to disagree with me wholeheartedly on this, because of The Last Jedi, because of what Rian Johnson did, because he said, screw the fans. I don't care what the fans want. I don't care if the fans want to see the big three on screen, or at the very least, Luke and Leia being the primary focus of this film. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is making a movie for me. That's what Rian Johnson said. And guess what? That's the movie that Rian Johnson gave. And many of the elites in Hollywood and the media loved it. And why did they love it? Because it was a film for them. It was a film for the elites. It was not a film for the fans. So you know what the fans said? Hey, all right, screw you then. Screw you. This is not our Star Wars anymore. And then you had some normies that came out to Solo and said, wait a minute, I know the Solo guy, but that's not Harrison Ford. Why would I want to go see this? And they didn't go see it. And then when the last film came out, it made over $1 billion, but ended up being basically outpaced by, and at this point in time, still being less grossing than freaking Joker, which only cost $55 million to make, by the way, was a rated R film and made more than a Star Wars movie. Joker, rated R, $55 million budget, made more than a Star Wars movie. I don't care what the final price tag was. It's $1 billion. It made profit. Okay. Good for you. You were able to convince enough normies with your giant marketing team that probably spent way much more on your marketing campaign than even I am giving you credit for. Congratulations. But if you're honestly going to look at the numbers and how they've changed and how they've fallen and how they've skewed over time, and you're not going to acknowledge the fact that the hardcore fans and that the audiences that these films are supposed to be made for matter and are not just a partial thanks, then truly you are ignorant. And I already knew that you were ignorant, Scotty Boy, and that's why I always like to call you Scotty Boy, and why I always like to call you out like this, because sometimes you get it. There have been some things, like, for example, when Birds of Prey came out, you were being pretty honest, saying, this movie's failed. This movie has epically failed and is right now on pace to possibly be a big box office bomb. Could make its money back, maybe, but it's really not going to make the money back that they expected for it. And then he gave a whole myriad list of reasons, none of which included the marketing campaign that included trying to basically isolate an entire group of its audience, or what seemingly should be its audience. So what's interesting to me is that you continue to make excuses for all things. So when a film does bad, it can't be because of woke marketing. It can't be because they're pushing political agendas in films. That can't have anything to do with it. And when a film is successful, that's not the fans. How dare you say and suggest that the fans have any indication and any desire to go see a movie that's made for them? Lord, y'all are idiots. Y'all are so full of yourselves. I know some people are going to say, aren't you really full of yourself too? No, I'm just a guy that's speaking to a camera. I'm just a dude speaking to a $70 camera that just is speaking my mind. And some people like that. Some people are drawn to that. Some people are repulsed by it. And guess what? Hey, screw you too. I still pray for you at night. But Scotty Boy, man, you gotta stop making these types of articles where you go off and on and on and on saying, well, if you look at, this weekend, these films came out over this time period, and so therefore, I'm just gonna go ahead and try and use all this information to say, oh no, it wasn't the fans. If you can honestly sit back and say to yourself that this movie would have done as well with the same exact design and without the hardcore fans, you are clueless. Which, of course, I already believe that you are in many respects. But seriously, partially thanks to online outrage? No. I would say almost solely based for it, because if this change had not happened and it came out in November, it would have been a flop. If they had decided to push the release date back but keep the same character design and say, screw the fans, we care about our effects artists and we're going to respect them for the work they've done, it would have flopped. And how do I know that? Because the trending. It's easy to follow the trends. It's easy to follow, the mindsets of the fans. Because, again, I cannot tell you how many people have said, I would not have seen this movie had they not listened to the fan base and made these changes. I have a lot of people that have come out of their way to say, hey, I had no desire to see this film at all, but because Jeff Fowler did something and actually listened, I want to support this film to show Hollywood, guess what? If you listen to the fans, if you give the fans what they want, if you give the fans a good story, That is what will give you profit. That is what will give you money. Why do you think Joker made so much money? It was a rated R film made for $55 million that had the entire media against it. And yet that film made over $1 billion, made over $500 million in net gain profit. How in the hell would a film like that have done so well if it had not done something for the fans? And I know that there's some people going to argue saying, well, you defend Joker, but Joker took, totally went away from the comic book. And you're right, they did. But guess what? From the very trailers, they made it clear the direction that they were going, that they were going for a more grounded in reality story. And guess what? Fans were able to look at that and say, oh, this is a different way of looking at the Joker. So it's still respecting the source material because it's not crapping on it at all, but it's a different take on it. Very different than what they did with Star Wars and said, oh, the source material, right? Kathleen Kennedy thing that says, what source material? We didn't have anything to go off of. We just had our wits about us to go off of instead. And look what happened with Star Wars. And that was an active campaign to crap on the fans. That was an active campaign to say, hey, we don't care about the fans anymore. We want new fans. We want a new generation of people. And we don't care who we crap on in the process. So it's amazing to me that people continue to be ignorant of all these things. When if you just open your eyes and look around, you see, hey, fans matter. Fans are the ones that buy tickets. Fans are the ones that buy merchandise. Fans are the ones that will be able to say, hey, even though this film is looking like it's made for kids, I might actually go see it for the sole purpose of supporting this mindset. That sometimes when you listen to fans, it works out for you. Notice I say sometimes, because sometimes people say, oh, I'm listening to the fans right now, but I'm still going to crap on them. I'm still going to not really acknowledge them altogether. And that's what happened with Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, he gave a lot of people a lot of really nice little Easter eggs that people were able to grasp onto and say, see, he's listening to us. But if you looked at the overall film, it sucked. What he did was he gave everyone a terrible story that did not acknowledge the mistakes made in the past and did not fix those mistakes, and instead just gave us a half-baked crap sandwich. Sonic the Hedgehog, on the other hand, said, hey, you know what? This is not looking very good for us. We want to make our money back. In fact, we would like to make some profit if we can, because guess what? We haven't had a very good year. Oh, let's throw another $5 million in there. Let's make that investment to actually say, hey, let's give the fans something that they want. And guess what? Fans are turning out in kind. But anyway, Skyboy Mendelson, bad take once again. As usual, bad take. It is mostly thanks to the online outrage. It is mostly thanks to the fans that this is doing as well. I can talk to many people who have seen this film now multiple times in one weekend because they want to support it, because they want this film to succeed. There are people out there who want this film to succeed and do better than Birds of Prey for the sole reason that Birds of Prey did not listen to the fans. Said, no, we're going to push agenda in our film, where Sonic, on the other hand, says, no agendas, just a movie for the fans. So you're damn right that people like me and people at Geeks and Gamers and people all over the Phantom Menace want a film like Sonic to succeed, because guess what? They respect the fans. And when you respect the fans respond. When you disrespect them, screw you. Anyway, what are your thoughts about this article from Scotty Boy Mendelson? Again, it's doing very well. In fact, it actually did better than expected. So it was projected to make around $57 million domestically, and ended up making $58 million. So they actually adjusted that number up. So now the overall worldwide numbers for it is around $101 million. That number is going to go up, obviously, since it is a holiday today, and it's going to make some more money overseas as well. While films like Birds of Prey have a 48% drop. Yeah, it's made $143 million. Yay, you crossed the $100 million mark. Yeah, and Sonic's going to pass you by next weekend. Why? Because fans matter. Hey, did you hear that, Scotty Boy Mendelson? Fans matter. Anyway, leave your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. Also, please hit that join button today if you want to become a member of this channel to support the work that I do, and also get access to extra content, including some podcasts that I'm planning on doing with the Flick Pick. So there's already one episode live on the channel that you have access to as a member. And so if that's the kind of stuff that you're interested in, also check out the video where I explain all the benefits and all the things that work out with that. And again, that's something that's going to be expanding over the next several weeks as I continue to figure it out, because it's a nice shiny new button that I don't know really what to do with yet. But anyway, you guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And now to give a shout out to my February Patreon and Subscribe Star members: Animation Commentator, Brian P., Dion, David Brobrizik, Please let me know if I need to repronounce that name. DivX, Elizabeth M, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, Frank the Tank and the Shawhan Weird Dog Clan, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jeffrey Toon, Jeffrey Lebowski, JJ Jonathan Jerembeck, Kenneth Cameo, Lady T, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, Orange Hat Reviews, Outpost Dyer, Perpetual Punster, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, The DJD Show, and Tina B. And over on Subscribestar, Robert Revo, Larry, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, G2 Cool 99, Darkstar 57, Alice McCarthy, US 888-209 Fast, Dean Heiss, Harold Francis, J. Rod the Beer Guru, Nebanon G. Adams, and ZK Man. Then a shout out to Riff Racer Request and Sir Lance Elato and Mike Jackson. You rock. Thank you very much for being my Patreon Subscribestar members for the month of February. And if anyone else decides to join, at the next couple of days or so, I will add you into this list as well. You guys freaking rock. Have a wonderful one. And as always, God bless.